All right, let's have a listen to the exhaust. That sounds nice. So this is the C8 Corvette. This is the base model, black. So it is a really nice vehicle. Very fun to drive. It's very beautiful. There really isn't anything like it. I mean, if anybody can think of anything that is even remotely close to what this vehicle is like, I would love to hear about it. I mean, you get great styling, you get great performance. It really doesn't have any weaknesses. There are a lot of complainers that complain about the interior of the vehicle, for instance. But overall, it's actually quite awesome. Very beautiful. You got large 20-inch rims. Look pretty great. And then 19-inch fronts. Got some curb rash here from the previous owner. Not a fan of that, but it is what it is. And then you have this hood. It has this swoop in there. It's like really beautiful. And you know, I didn't want to get the black one, but I did. And you can actually see a complete reflection of yourself in the black vehicle. One of the downsides though with a black vehicle though is that it gets dirty. It gets dirty so fast. Literally in 2 days the vehicle got dirty. Look, it's already dirty. Now I did drive in like a wet kind of rainy area, but guess what? I had to learn how to detail cars, how to detail the exterior and the interior just to get this vehicle. Because one of the things about sports cars is you can't really have a sports car if you're not going to be cleaning it. You absolutely have to keep your sports car clean and operating properly. Because what is the point of having a sports car if you're not enjoying it and if you're not taking care of it? I mean, look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Wow. Absolutely breathtaking. Gorgeous vehicle. Almost every day when I drive somewhere, I make a new friend because they love talking about cars. Like just the car enthusiasts, the people that really like vehicles and love driving around and talking about cars. It's literally a car that gets you friends. Like, how could that be? It just seems crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And look at that, quad exhaust. Really cool. Awesome looking logo over here. You got the little, some people call those wings, but I think those are like flags. Yeah. Then you got the brake light over here. It's like a little mini spoiler. You can get spoiler options, which unfortunately I didn't get. But yeah, look at it. Look at those lights. Apparently you have the Corvette. The lights actually kind of look like the Corvette symbol. Like this little symbol here, to some extent, because they go like this. And yeah, it's pretty cool. This right here, these are gills. So the air will basically enter from a couple different areas. Like you got these little slits right here. The air will enter and then it'll pass through. And depending on which model you have, they'll come out of a couple different areas, but you got gills here so it can breathe, which is pretty awesome. And some models like the Z06 or the Grand Sport will have an additional gill right over here. And what it'll do is it will provide additional cooling to the brakes. Very, very neat to think about. And look, you got more gills right there as well. So the engine does get pretty hot pretty fast. So it does need a lot of gills for breathing and I guess exhaling air. There's some gills right there. And then you have the air, got the air intake. And no, this video is not yet sponsored by Target or Rite Aid or Penske truck rental. So let me show you what's under the hood over here. And then I'm gonna also talk about the hatchback. There's actually a lot of room back there. Surprising. How the engine is laid out is also quite interesting. Let me show you, because the engine is actually behind the axle, which is very odd, but let's take a look. The other interesting thing from going from the C6 to the C7 is you get this vastly improved interior. You have these beautiful looking doors. The interior is rather nice, actually. Cool looking seats, tons of room in the back there. I mean, I got crates, I got tripods, coats. It's just really beautiful. Like, look at this door. What on earth? And there's a button that you press to open the door. Look at this. Pretty cool. And you got like a Corvette emblem right there. Pretty interesting looking steering wheel as well. Yeah, rather interesting. All right, let's take a look at the engine. Oh yeah, when you push these little buttons to open the door, the glass slides down. Kind of cool. So yeah, this right here is the star of the show, the LS engine. It's got 450 horsepower and pound-feet of torque. And this is actually considered one of the slower engines, believe it or not. And you see how it's behind the axle? Like, you got your tire right here, and the engine is slightly offset. And then what they did is they took the transmission and they put the transmission in the back so you can get much more even weight distribution in the vehicle. So essentially you get better balance while driving and that kind of thing. I actually need to clean the engine bay a little. It's rather dirty. Previous owner did not really clean it. The engine bay actually requires, I guess, special cleaning procedures. I'll probably show you what I'll be doing for that. But I'll also show you the detailing kit that I got to be able to detail the exterior of the vehicle and also the interior. Don't forget this right here, this top, it actually comes off and you can store it in the back, and I'll show you how that works also. But yeah, look at this. Look at how beautiful this is. You got that air intake on the front there. It's truly, truly something. Now, there are some downsides. Some of the components of the vehicle are considered kind of rather cheap. Like, for instance, you have kind of minor cosmetic gripes. Like over here you have some peeling paint. I really think it's just because the engine is just piping hot. And this is a V8 small block. And so imagine like a giant truck engine, but the V8 small block is really, it's just so compressed and so condensed. And I think that's actually why the paint eventually just kind of falls off. I might be able to get some kind of special touch-up paint that can withstand the heat, but I mean, it does get kind of hot. I think it's like 220 Fahrenheit. So that right there is kind of explains why it gets so hot. So yeah, actually closing this is, it's kind of cool that it holds itself up, but closing it is rather hard because you can't really close it from this angle. You have to kind of like kind of go into the middle of the car and then just kind of give it a little bit of power when closing it, like that. Because if you don't close it hard enough, one of these sides may still be propped up, which could be an issue. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting quirks about the vehicle too. Like this right here, this is not the battery. The battery is actually in the back. Let's go take a look at it. So, push this magical button, and then this right here opens it up. Actually, there is also a button under here as well. Yeah, look at how much room you have in here. This is crazy. Like, for this type of sports car, there's really no way to get this much room. Like, for like its size and how it works and everything, this is really kind of a marvel that they were able to fit this much room in there. Like, seriously, absolutely amazing. Yeah, look at how much room is in here. Pretty impressive stuff. I kind of wish that they had like a little indent here where you can lay down or have a third person. That would have been so awesome. But you know what? I am not complaining because this is a great vehicle. So when you're closing it, what's interesting is that it completes the closure for you. It does not want you to slam it. Like, that right there was kind of somewhat tough. But let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you just kind of let it come down, like, you just kind of push it down like this, it will complete the closure. You can kind of hear the mechanical parts going like, let me show you again. And part of it is when you're closing it, you don't want to be slamming it because you don't want to damage the glass. Over time, slamming it could, in theory, damage it. If you're buying a C7 Corvette, you absolutely want to get 2LT. And I mean, if you can only afford the base model, sure, get the base model. Like for me, I could only afford the base model. But you absolutely want to get the heads-up display. This is an amazing feature that I don't have, but if I had it, it would be right here. And it's a computer that essentially shoots a light. It essentially shoots a light, like a translucent screen, kind of like what you see here, but onto the glass. And what that does is it prevents you from having to look down at the HUD there, and you can keep your eyes on the road. And I think that's just a phenomenal feature. The other reason why you probably want to get 2LT is because you want to have heated and cooled seats. That's what these little phantom buttons here would have been. But unfortunately, I obviously didn't get it. At the time when I first bought this car in March, it was when COVID was really gaining traction, and I actually got the car for much cheaper than what it's normally sold for. Even though I've been driving the car for almost a year, I can actually sell it and get all my money back and make some money on top. And that's actually one of the funny things about sports cars, is that they actually can go up in value. It's almost kind of like a house. I mean, obviously, if you're driving them kind of a lot, they may not do that, but it really depends. Like, it depends on the availability of the vehicle. Not all vehicles are gonna go up in price, but sports cars in general actually can. I've only heard about something like this with the Ferraris, but I guess it happened with me with the Corvette. I got lucky with my first sports car. What can I say? Wanted to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and definitely subscribe if you like this type of content. In episode 2, I'm going to give you a detailed interior analysis of the Corvette C7, but we'll also be covering all the other Corvettes like the C6, the C5, the C4, and we'll also talk about the C8. I'll be covering features that I really regret not getting, like the 2LT trim, the Z51 package, and the PDR. We'll go in depth talking about what the LT1 engine is like and why it's considered one of the most unbeatable engines and best engines your money can buy. That's all coming up in episode 2. Hope to see you guys there. Cheers.